What's up, gamers? Welcome to another episode of Get Your Game Sense Up. My name is Bios, your Nord Average Gamer.
And I am SuperKami. And guys, join us in the Second Army to tear down the fold.
Anyways, and in this episode of Get Your Game Sense Up, we are going to be talking about the final end of Anthem. I know we're a little bit late, but we're going to talk about it today. And we're going to be talking about Jeff Kaplan leaving Blizzard.
Yeah, guys, it has been quite a crucible in the gaming industry of the past few months. So the next few episodes, we're going to just try to do a grab bag of the most important stuff. And we have to talk about Anthem because our very first episode was about Anthem. If you go back to our YouTube, very first episode was about Anthem, but it had just come out. So Anthem is kind of the reason why we started the podcast to an extent. So I'm excited to talk about. Well, not excited. I mean, it's time to talk about the dealing department of what was Bioware's Anthem.
Yeah, Bioware's little Anthem. So, for those of you who don't know, which I doubt, but Anthem was Bioware's answer to Destiny and The Division. It was a live service multiplayer game with javelins as your classes. It was supposed to be story-based, a living universe, all that good stuff. It was also a shooter, third-person shooter. But unfortunately, since the day it was launched, there was a lot of problems, missing content, unfinished things, and the game was struggling to survive. So the game was launched in 2019, and it finally died in February 24th, 2021. So, unfortunately, but I guess not really unfortunately, but like in this day and age, where more and more people are becoming, aware with what's going on in the game industry, and during Anthem's life cycle, it was being attacked in a lot of different directions, and it was also, people were like trying to say like it's gonna get better, all that nonsense, and ever since from the start, there was always a lot of red flags. Eventually, the development team was reduced down to a small skeleton crew of like less than 30 people. Those were reports of it being less than that, of trying to revitalize Anthem for Anthem Next or the 2.0 update or whatever. A lot of people were like looking forward to it to see if you could do a revival like No Man's Sky and such. But eventually EA came in and they just saw that whatever they made just wasn't enough and decided to axe the project.
Yeah, guys, it's really been quite an interesting tale of what Anthem was. Like, I haven't been following it fully because I never even bought the game. I did play it through the demo, and I tried it when it came to EA Play, when EA Play came to Game Pass. Like, I probably played like the first 5 to 8 hours. I never even beat the campaign. But if you were following it after its terrible release of just bugs and incomplete content, as Bio said, and then of course when they announced, okay, here we are going to do this Anthem Next at 2.0, there was a lot of discussion about that. Because a quick side tangent, I low-key hate that No Man's Sky made a quote-unquote comeback, because everybody just says the next No Man's Sky. I'm like, no, there should never be a next No Man's Sky, because there should never be a situation where a No Man's Sky even happens. But okay, whatever. Everybody thought like, oh, would this Anthem 2.0 be a free upgrade? Would it be a sequel? Would it be a paid expansion? There's a lot of discussion, and every once in a while, every few months, they would do like a developer's update, and they would actually show off what they were working on, and it was promising. They had a new menu, they had a new way to upgrade your javelin, like they had new story beats they want to hit, like they were adding new guns to the game, like. Slowly but surely, it seemed to be going. And of course, they still were having events in the marketplace. Of course, the marketplace kept going every single week, guys. So, like, sure, they were quiet for the most part. But we thought, hey, they're just working. They're keeping their head down. And we knew it was a small team, but we thought when it was time to, like, really ramp up production, they would bring up all the Bioware teams, like all 3 studios, to, like, go full force on it. But these guys are just the ones who are spearheading it. And of course, 2 years. So the game came out February 22nd, 2019, and on its second year anniversary, on the 24th of February, 2021, was officially announced are canceling it. And to no one's surprise, it was like, yeah.
No one's surprised. Yeah, no one's surprised, but at the same time, exactly. Like, people are like, yeah, it's probably time for this thing to go.
Even before they announced it, there's reports that like 2 weeks prior that EA was going to have a big like stock investors meeting, and they were going to talk about, this is when the future of Anthem was coming out, if it was going to continue or not. And then of course we've come to find out it wasn't happening. So like people were kind of preparing for it. It wasn't like a big surprise because we knew 2 weeks ahead of time that they were going to make a final judgment. But yeah, so like I don't know, but it's like, do you think this was the best call for it? Like, could anything have been done differently?
I do think it was the best call for it, because regardless, like at that time, a lot of other, a lot of games were coming out. Development for other stuff for Bioware and EA were moving forward, because when Anthem was done, like the main group of developers moved on to start developing Dragon Age and working on the remaster for the Mass Effect series. So whoever was left, whatever studio that they came from, I believe it was from the studio that was working on Star Wars Online, that was left working on the game. It was like, and there was less than 30 people. How much could they have? How much really could they have? Could they really do? Because the game was so behind on so many things.
I mean, quick thing. I always said the 30 people. I never thought they were gonna like remake the game. I just thought they were the ones like doing the outlines. Like they're making all the planning of the big picture stuff. They were doing all the big picture stuff. And of course, when they were ready, everybody would come in to actually make the game. I didn't think those 30 people were gonna like make the full game. That's just my 2 cents. But yeah, go ahead.
Well, I don't know, but if it was like that, then they wouldn't really have canceled it based on that.
Sure, I mean, we don't know fully, but that's just how I thought it went down.
I think, I also thought eventually they would get more people to just work on it, but they had to really convince EA, really, truly convince EA, not like before, that they have to, like, this is what the game is going to be, and this is what's going to bring people back. But Anthem was just getting so much criticism. It barely got any like actual attention on YouTube and Twitch and stuff like that, showing that people's interests were obviously moving on. Even with this little like revitalization of where like people where people heard of the investors call, like this is going to make or break the game, and like there was like this whole thing on Reddit and stuff, like people from all over different games and blah blah were coming to support Anthem, yada yada. Please.
Oh yes, I remember that.
Please.
All the Reddits were like, support Anthem. Oh yeah, that was nonsense.
That was like, relax. This is not some like relax. Yeah. So really, I just think that ending Anthem was a good thing, because for me it just shows that if you promise something, you promise to make something, you promise to do something, and it didn't, and it comes out it's not what you promised, it should end. Because the only things that should be on the market, that should be living and stuff like that, in the gaming industry, for us gamers, are good games, good well developed games from day one, at least. Waiting years and years and years, and also for like EA spending millions and millions and millions of dollars, because this game was in development for a long time and stuff like that, to have this game running. If I was them, I'd be like, we should cut this because we gave you guys so long, yada yada. You like, even if you guys were to revive it, there's no guarantee that people would come back. There's no guarantee that you guys will make the money back or more, yada yada yada. And it just sets like Anthem has set itself as an example of what not to do when making a game.
Yeah, that's a really good point you brought up, because now this is the first time in like our modern gaming age where a game has come out in a terrible position, and instead of the developers just trugging along to try to make some sort of money for it, the studio shut it down. They shut it down. So now everyone's like looking towards what could be the next Anthem. Like, will there ever be another No Man's Sky, quote unquote? but will there just be another Anthem? And a great example of that is Marvel's Avengers. Everyone's talking about Marvel's Avengers, like, could Square Enix shut it down? Could they shut it down? Like, could it be the next Anthem? Because it kind of had the same path as Anthem, where they had a really terrible launch. But of course, they had, the main game was complete just bad launch in terms of bugs and matchmaking. So, like, people were worried, hey, if Anthem could get shut down by one of the biggest studios in the world and developers from EA and Bioware, what's to say a smaller game, whether that could be Avengers or, the day before when that eventually comes out. Or, like, Anthem really made itself part of gaming history of, like, what not to do and what could happen to you.
And I'm so glad that happened. I'm so happy. Like, I feel bad for the developers, of course, yada yada, but I'm glad that it happened only because, like, that is not how a game should be.
Yeah, like, it finally gave a game a death sentence. Like, before, death sentences were just like, oh, nobody played you, but, like, they never really shut games down before, like, in this modern gaming era. So it's interesting to see that any game could be next, because now there's no, oh, we'll just keep it going.
They have shut games down before, whether it was good or bad, but, like, to this type of game and to this scale.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Of course, games have shut down. Nothing's on forever, obviously. But, like, to this scale and this publicity and, like, the way it came out, like, and again, this was supposed to be, like, a major game in the industry. This was supposed to be standing next to, Destiny, which is still a really big game 7 years later. But I don't know, I mean, if I had the opportunity, I think, I don't know, I mean, overall, yes, this was the best choice for this game to be shut down. But could they have done it right? Potentially, like, from the little developer updates that we were getting over the past couple of years, it did seem that they were trying to make a true change in the game. But I don't know, like, even then, like, even when they had the small skeleton crew, their management was still going in and out. Like, they never had anyone permanent. Like, that's the biggest problem that Anthem's had since day one, that they never had one true focused lead to really show
honestly, because, like, the for the main people that were doing it, like, how, because the main guy, Jesse whatever his name, when, like, I just never understood that. Like, how you're an expert, how games need to be made and developed. How are you gonna go through all that trouble to, like, grab people and tell them your idea and yada yada, and then go forward with it, only to leave and not leave any successor, like, not leave anyone to truly handle it, and then you're gonna have the nerve to come back and try to fix it only because the ship is sinking. That doesn't make any sense. And then it goes into this chaos because, like, in the gaming industry, like, I understand, like, this is something that's, like, a worldwide, I guess, issue when it comes to game development, but it should not be. This is an industry. You guys are experts. You guys should have a plan in any fashion. Like, you guys talk about how you're always talking to each other and listening to the community and doing all your little board meetings. How do you never have a plan? Like, it's just childish. Like, the game was just meant to fail. It was just meant to fail.
It really was. It had everything against it, and, like, it was Bioware who did it to themselves. Bioware, and not even EA. I can't even blame EA for this one. It really was Bioware.
It was. Like, that makes it even funnier. Like, EA had nothing to do with it. Nothing. If it wasn't for EA, we wouldn't have flying.
Exactly. Like, they are the one reason that game had the one good thing. But, Bias, it's really funny that you're talking about that they never had a guy to really keep it going. Like, I mean, that's very similar, quote, to what's happening with Overwatch and Jeff Kaplan. Like,
heyo, segue.
Explain to the audience what's going on with Jeff Kaplan and Overwatch and who he was and whatnot.
Alrighty, so Overwatch, I'm sure that, like, yeah, a lot of you guys know what Overwatch is. It's the big FPS shooter with hero shooter um, from Blizzard. That's been here for a long time.
That
And
BIOS is obsessed with. So I just want to make that super clear.
I am sadly, yes, obsessed with Overwatch. I have a love and hate relationship. It's toxic. I should go to counseling for this. I really should.
You really should. It's disgusting.
It's abusive. It's abusive. But yeah, this game has been out for 4 years, and I've been playing nearly every minute of it.
5. It's been out for 5.
5?
Yeah.
5. Yeah, it has,
6.
yeah. 5 going on 6. Yeah. Of Overwatch, and we are now going into the stages of when Overwatch 2 is being released and stuff like that. BlizzCon happened not too long ago, BlizzCon Online, and now we've heard some really sad-ish news of Jeff Kaplan, one of the creative leads.
Creative lead.
Yeah, the creative lead, a titan when it comes to someone of high rank in the Blizzard in Blizzard's lineup, of him leaving. It came somewhat out of nowhere. They did a whole post about it, and the person that's going to be taking over is Aaron Keeler. So we're going to be talking about that now. Jeff leaving, I don't know, especially in the time of where like Overwatch 2 is being developed, could mean a lot. Jeff was a person who really fought for what he believed in, and he had a vision, and he wanted to make sure that vision came true. And for the most part, really for the most part, he's done a great job and a fantastic job for Overwatch. And I mean, because of him, I think Overwatch lasted so long. He was a fan favorite with his little intro videos for updates and stuff like that, and he was always a cool guy and everything. So hearing him leave is pretty sad, but it also doesn't surprise me. And the reason why it doesn't surprise me is because stuff like this happens in the gaming industry all the time, and when it does happen, especially when you're in development of a new title coming out, it means something isn't good. Because game developers, they don't just leave games, you know, because when you're making a video game, when you're making a world, when you're making like a new thing, or just being involved in game development in general, it's something that they want to do for like the rest of their lives. They don't really just leave to retire or something like that. Something negative has to happen to want them to leave.
I don't totally agree with that, what you just said. Jeff Kaplan was part of Blizzard and Overwatch for about 20 years. You know, he can't do it forever. Like, maybe he really just did want to retire. I'm not going to say something was, there had to be something going wrong for him to just up and leave. It is shocking that he just up and left, right? They were like, they made a post like, Jeff is gone. Like, it wasn't like, I'm leaving in 2 months, I'm leaving after Overwatch comes out.
Exactly.
Like, that would say that's the one concerning part, that he just up and left. Like, it makes me think, did he just straight up quit, or did he get fired? Like, what could have happened for him to just up and leave? That's the one concerning part. But maybe, he was preparing to leave behind the scenes. They just didn't tell us because it would have been a whole thing. Maybe, I don't know. I mean, Jeff kind of seems like he likes the spotlight, so I feel like he would have told people he was leaving.
It would never be a thing. It would never be a thing because, like, for someone like him who's always in good contact with the community, him just making a video or a proper posting of his departure, the community would have been sad, but the community is always susceptible of what other people's needs, and they would have told him, "We'll miss you, Jeff. I'll have a good break." It would have been a very positive outcome, especially if he would have communicated it. But since it came out of nowhere and it was like this post, and like people are like literally dissecting this thing, they're like going like, "Oh my god, there's so many typos," stuff like that. It looks like he just did it on his phone and posted it, and going to as far as looking on who he thanked in his departure posting, where like he thanked all the creative team, the fans, and stuff like that, except the publisher. So people are thinking or saying that this could also mean some sort of strife that could have happened between him and Activision.
That's true. That's very true. I mean, I just don't want to be the person that always thinks the worst outcome always. I mean, it's very true. I would say him suddenly leaving is the biggest red flag. But, you know, as we were discussing earlier, so this new Aaron guy who's taken over, I feel like it's a different scenario where I'm not too concerned about what the future of Overwatch will be, because this guy has been there since day one. It's not like some guy they randomly hired to join the team. He's been Jeff's right-hand man since before Overwatch was even a thing. And, you know, he's been in the community. He's been part of the development. And Overwatch has such a unique and distinct brand and culture. Like, I doubt he can just go ahead and switch it up. But, like, this game has to be coming out in 2022. Like, there's no way it's not. And I doubt they can just be like, okay, we're going to change everything. Like, how much can they actually change before the game is released?
Okay, so on that note, Aaron Keeler has been there for a long time, blah, blah, blah. And yeah, they're probably not going to do, like, anything horrific to the game, like, for him. But we also have to take a look at is that, like, Jeff Kaplan, one thing, like, a lot of people say about him is that, like I said earlier, he really fought for what he thought was right or how he wants things to be. You know, he takes criticism, stuff like that, and he'll make changes. But when it comes to his vision, once he has that vision, he's not going to let people tell him to do this way or that way. That's why for the most part, Overwatch has been like, an affordable game. Nothing too crazy when it came to its microtransactions. You can earn everything in game. Your updates are free.
You're saying that, but let's not forget that Overwatch kind of popularized the loot box in the industry.
Okay, yeah, it has, but in my opinion,
first game to do it. Okay.
Right? Yes, but like it has, but the loot box system, in my opinion, wasn't like anything crazy because you can spend money for loot boxes, or you can just play the game and earn loot boxes and currency over time to get everything that you want. Because that's what basically how I've done it. I have basically everything that I would want in the game and stuff like that. But what I'm saying is, it's been a healthy run. It hasn't been crazy.
Sure, but you've also put like 10,000 hours in that game. So.
Yes, is that wrong? Like I've always been saying, if I want to put the hours in to earn what I want, I should be able to. And if people want to go ahead and buy whatever, they can. There's nothing wrong with that. But anyway, to the point.
I completely agree. Continue.
So to the point of that. So Jeff and Activision, there's been, contention where they would want to, because they had to partner with Activision to make all the shooting mechanics in the game. And there's been contention because, Activision wants to put in their greedy 2 cents here and there. And since now that Jeff is gone, whatever made him leave and whatever, we don't know if Aaron has that same like iron will to fight off Activision. Even though he's been mentored under Jeff and yada yada, once that person is gone, how exactly are you going to handle things? How much influence is Activision going to try to put when it comes to Overwatch? Like, let's say like Overwatch 2 will come out with the vision and stuff like that. But we don't know how exactly it's going to be monetized, because this is technically a whole different game, with the PvE, story, replayable missions, customizable characters and abilities and stuff like that. How far, like how much would Activision try to like put in their 2 cents? Like, would they have to be like, okay, every new like story beat for the future has to be DLC, and if they want the actual cosmetics, they're gonna have to like pay for it. And even if like that, let's say like you don't even do that much, but like how much would they affect the XP system, for you to earn your things, to force you into buying stuff and stuff like that? We just don't know how much. We don't know if Aaron can do the same thing like as Jeff has. Because with Jeff, we were like confident on that, but with this new guy on his own, we don't know, especially when it comes to the people around him,
I mean, as a second-hand man to Jeff, I want to give him the benefit of the doubt, And you're right, people might be worried about certain things, but overall, I don't know, like, people are concerned. One of the concerns I've heard in this game is, what if they add a battle pass per character? You know, now I'm not saying a paid battle pass, but like, you know, there's like a ranking system. You know, if you want to go from level 1 to 150, and like every time you level up, you get a certain cosmetic or maybe an emote or a banner, whatever. I personally would be okay with that. Like, I think that's something Overwatch desperately needs. It needs an incentivization to play other characters, so we wouldn't have so many DPS mains, and people would see, oh, you know, if I play this Reinhardt, I can get this really cool skin at level 30 or whatever. So they're forced to play. I think it's great. I don't think it should be paid. I think it should come free per character, and I think the characters should still come free. You know, actually, I don't know if characters should be free. I really don't. I don't think they should. I've been saying that for a long time. I don't think free characters should be in Overwatch. It's nice, but it would be better for the community if it wasn't.
You're treading on thin ice there, buddy.
I'll explain in a second, if you like. But I don't know, like, I would hope this Aaron guy could stand up to Activision. I mean, I don't know how much Activision really wants to do. Like, they already have loot boxes, and the only thing they can do that would be different for Overwatch 2 that every other game has pretty much done is add a straight up store. And they kind of already have that with the Overwatch League. They already have a low-key quote-unquote store for Overwatch 2, unless they had a full-on store, like, you know, if you're looking at a Destiny or an Apex or Fortnite, where like, oh, this week Mercy, Zarya, and Zenyatta have exclusive skins, like it won't be a store for another 2 months, kind of thing, or maybe ever, kind of thing. Like, unless they have a straight up store, I don't really know what they could do that's so bad. And I don't know. I don't think the whole complaint about the XP thing is even a fair thing, because there will always be players like you. Like, to me, the XP grind is long. Like, guys, I got Overwatch on day one. Day one. I played the beta, but the beta doesn't matter. But I have to say that because people are like, oh, how's the game in beta? But the beta doesn't matter because that thing crossovered. But I've been on Overwatch since day one. I'm still a bronze plate with 4 stars because I don't play that game. Like, I played it a lot when it first came out, but I'm just not interested. So to me, when I want to get stuff, like, I don't have a lot of coins, and I never got a lot of skins because I don't play that game. But to me, like, I'm like, I look at stuff, I'm like, I'll never get that. Like, even the 9 wins, like, when they would have events, like, oh, get 9 wins and you get the skin, like, even to me, that was too much. I'm like, I don't want to play 9 games. Like, I don't want to play X amount of games to maybe get 9 wins. Like, even to me, that's too much.
Is your complaint really, oh my gosh, I have to play the game to earn things?
No. You're complaining, what if they throttle the XP and it'll be harder to get stuff, right? That's the complaint you and the community have. But it doesn't matter, because there will always be players like you. It doesn't matter how much XP you're getting, because you're going to play regardless. You've been playing literally non-stop. Like, you're like, I don't even know what's above platinum, but you're above platinum, and you have like 3 stars in that. Like, you put so many hours into Overwatch. You like that game, you like the community, you like the camaraderie you have with your friends. Like, Overwatch has so many great things working for it, and all of those elements are still going to be in Overwatch 2. There might be more microtransactions, but all of those base elements are still going to be in there. So if they add a battle pass per character, if they add a microtransaction store, if they add even if they throttle the XP, that's not going to change anything, because you're still going to play the game. Unless, you know, it'll be different if the game is bad. Like, if the matchmaking is terrible, there's a lot of bugs, you know, like they take away abilities, like stuff like that. If the game is bad, that's different. But if it's the same essence of Overwatch 1 and Overwatch 2, but they have all these new ways to get more income, it won't matter for a player like you. Because you never, you know, I don't know if you've ever bought, or if you maybe bought very few loot boxes, but like, you play the game and you get everything you want through the game, as you said, right? So if that's the case in Overwatch 2, there won't be any problem, even if there's a battle pass per character.
Okay, I don't agree with that.
why they
because
should do
because
that.
because there's a difference with someone like me being able to play the game and get everything that they want, because it shows that it's attainable. If you throttle it to a point where someone like me can't even play the game, no matter if I play a lot, because that has happened before, where people who do grind games and greedy publishers go in there and throttle it to a point where it's like it's impossible. It's going to take me and when people calculate it, and it goes, oh, it's going to take me like 15 years to get one thing. That's impossible.
Okay,
and that's
yes.
pushing
I
me
don't
to
think it should
buy.
do that.
That's where
Yes.
the risk is. That's where the risk is. So you
Yes,
can't
I
just
would
say,
not like them to do like, oh, we're gonna throttle XP by 70%. Yeah,
okay,
of course, like that's a lot. But if they did it like what, 10%, 15%?
Okay, but you're talking about healthy numbers. We're not talking about that. This is Activision we're talking about.
Yeah, but this is Activision, but
yeah, and they've done it before, and people had to talk a lot. They did it before, from what I can remember. They did it with the Star Wars Battlefront thing, where it was like impossible to earn anything in the game. And I think they also do it for
that was Star Wars is EA. And,
no, EA. Star Wars is EA. That's my bad.
They did it with Destiny a little bit. They throttled XP in Destiny, but then they fixed it when it came out. But we don't know if that was Activision or Bungie. But XP was throttled and by like 40%, I think, in Destiny.
The thing is, like, that's too much. That's way too much of a risk factor.
Sure, but that's, if that comes to case, like if they did like a 70% throttling, by all means, like, pick up your pitchforks and yell and scream and make your voice heard.
Okay, but like, if
that's not the case, there's no problem. If you can still play the game as much as you want to get all the stuff, by all means do that.
But like, if you just put the same amount of hours if you put into Destiny and Overwatch, you will be getting stuff left and right. I mean, into Destiny.
You're absolutely right. And that's the difference. Like, that's a great example between you and me. Like, I play a lot of Destiny, so I'm Destiny rich. Whereas whenever you hop in, you're like, oh, I can't even upgrade my shotgun because you don't have the currency. But in Overwatch, you have literally everything because you played a lot of Overwatch. And when I play Overwatch, I'm like, oh, I don't think I'll ever get that Zenyatta skin because I don't have enough. I don't have 3,000 coins.
But that's not my complaint in Destiny, though.
I mean, yeah, you have other problems with Destiny, but when you do play, you do complain about you don't have currency. You do complain about that. I'm not too worried about Overwatch 2, especially since it's coming out next year, and I'll die on that hill. I don't care if they said it's not Blizzard ready. But I mean, like, I'm asking, like, if every character had a quote-unquote battle pass, would you be upset about that?
Okay. The thing is with battle pass, it's like, okay. I feel like the word battle pass is just used on everything.
Yes, battle pass has become a derogatory term, but it doesn't have to be.
No, right. But what I'm saying is, like, okay, like, because when you say battle pass, I immediately think of buying a battle pass and getting specific things that other people can't get in the battle pass. So are you talking about a leveling system where I level up and I can unlock things for free?
Yes, that's what I mean. Every character has a leveling. Every character has a rank. Like there's like in Rogue Company or like Rocket Arena. I don't know if you ever played Rocket Arena, but there's like a bar that has 50 spaces, and every time you level up, you play with that character, you level them up.
Is this battle pass bought or free?
It's free.
I don't care.
Every character has it. Every character has it.
That's fine, I guess.
Okay, so what if, in this new world, they have free characters still come out, but the battle passes are bought per character, similar to how Marvel's Avengers does.
I don't want it.
You don't want it.
No.
Then yeah, just don't play that character then.
No, it's all characters.
No, what do you mean all characters? No, all the base characters come free. So like Overwatch 2 is coming out with what, like 30 something characters, 32. But after they start including new characters, like after like 3 months, they want to introduce the first new character. It's gonna be DPS, of course. The first new DPS to come to the game. Free character, you can play him, but in the battle pass, there's like you get the character for free, but you don't get to unlock any of the the actual emotes and skins
No.
for that character
No.
unless you pay $10.
No.
I'd be okay with that. I'd be perfectly okay.
And that's where the problem of what's going on today starts.
I disagree because listen, I very much believe that if we gave them so I'm gonna do a quick side tangent. I've been very much of the belief that Overwatch should have had paid DLCs since day one, because I've never been a fan of the whole we're gonna release stuff whenever we want kind of thing. Like, if we had paid them upfront for a $30 or maybe a $20 DLC, and it was guaranteed to have 3 characters on like 5 maps or whatever, or three characters and 2 maps, whatever it is. To me, that is just way more fun because it'll really switch up the meta every time a DLC comes. Like, oh, we have 3 new characters. How do they really fit in this new meta? And B, it would force them to hit a timeline, because sometimes I feel that like 8 months go by before we see anything new, because it's all free and their only source of income is the loot boxes, which I'm sure they're making plenty of money from through like when events happen. It's just like they just do stuff whenever they want. Remember that first year of Overwatch, like we never knew what was happening, because it was, now that we're like 4 years in, 5 years in, we know what event is coming out when, and when they normally would drop a character. But that first year, we never knew what was happening. It was like, oh, remember that giant mission they went through Sombra to releasing Sombra? That whole like nonsense they had online?
Yeah.
Like, it was the ARG, like it was not well received. Like at first it was like, ooh, but then it was just like, nah, this is stupid. Like, announce the character. Release the character. Like, there was that whole like waiting period of what they were going to do. Like, we never knew what event they were going to do. We never knew if they were having events, if they're releasing new maps, anything. It wasn't until like they had big events like BlizzCon and say, hey, we're adding this new arcade stuff. And like, we didn't know anything about that game. So to me, if we had paid them $20 or $30 up front, or you wait till it comes out, they're required to hit a deadline. What does that mean? If that works on their part, this new, in their world, they can take as long as they want to do stuff. But in this new world that I'm creating, it might be a bit more work for them. But hey, at least we can get more stuff in a consistent manner. Because Overwatch 2 will be different because it has the PvE element, whatever. But since when Overwatch 1 was just straight PvP, and there was only 3 things you could do, it was just training, quick play, and
ranked
competitive. When it was just those 3 things, and you could even pick a map or whatever, like when it was just that, it was fun, but there was never a future at that point. Like, we knew something was going to come out, but we didn't know. Like, we didn't know what or when or how. Right?
Okay, like, but from how we do know how things, and technically it is a lot of stuff, for stuff every season, and also the in-betweens of like little holidays of like New Year's and yada yada, summer, blah 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 blah, all that stuff. So would you say that we would have to pay for all of those throughout 1 year?
No, of course, holiday events would still be free
every year. Okay, so what about every year?
What?
So what about every year?
What do you mean by the only thing I think we should be paying for, personally, like Overwatch time, not Overwatch 2. Overwatch 2 will be different. But Overwatch 1, the only thing I would have liked to have paid for was like a character pack. Sure, you could buy characters individually. Like, the first 3 characters that came out were Ana, Sombra, and Orisa. If I could have paid $20 up front or $30 up front, and I would have gotten all those 3 characters to come out 4 months later. Overwatch came out like in May, so we're talking about September. If 4 months later we got Ana, Sombra, or Orisa drop all at once, and maybe 2 maps, which would have been like Icon Wild and what's that? The Lunar Colony. If we got all of those things at once, 4 months, hey, to me that's a good value. We got 3 new characters that'll switch up the meta with a healer, tank, and a DPS, and 2 new maps. Like, to me, that's good. I would have preferred that. But of course, the holiday events. Go ahead. How would it work? What?
How would that work for people who didn't buy it?
They would just see. They could see those characters and be like, oh crap, I don't have Sombra or Orisa. They could just see it. They'll be like, hey, what? the maps, they're just not in that pool. Get out of here. They're just not in that pool. But like, let's say they're playing one of the base maps like Gibraltar, and they get wrecked by Sombra. You know, they could either buy that character specifically, like for like $5 or $10, or they buy the whole bundle. Like, but that'll incentivize them. Like, oh man, everyone's using Sombra. She's really cool. She's really cool. Okay, you know, I'm gonna buy her. Boom.
So they have no way to get that character other than to buy it.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
I think that's fair.
No.
Overwatch 2, how I would do microtransactions, all the characters are still free. You can have all the characters, Overwatch 2 is coming out with what, 30 characters. I think they're coming out with 30 characters. Each character has a battle pass, right? For free. All the base characters, right? And the battle pass is just, a leveling system. Every time you level up, you get currency. We're adding a new character. Let's say I have a new character called Darla, right? A new character called Darla. She comes out 3 months later. She's a new DPS. Darla has you have her character, you can use her kit completely free in PvE and PvP, completely free and custom, whatever. But if you want, and of course, maybe you can buy stuff from the store for her. But in her battle pass is $10. There's a free track and a premium track. In the free track, you can still get sprays and a skin at the very end or whatever, like some maybe basic skins like the blue skins. But in the premium track for $10, you get access to emotes and more legendary skins. To me, that's fair. At all.
No, that's not fair at all. That's not fair at all. Fair.
But you can still get free stuff for her, and you still have the character for free to play. Because you know what they say, cosmetics don't matter. Cosmetics don't matter.
No. Right? No, but that's not true. We know the cosmetics are part of the game. We know that.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
In a game like Overwatch,
it doesn't matter what game it is. People love customizing.
Actually, right. For Overwatch 2, maybe more because of the PvE element, but in Overwatch 1, I really wouldn't care. Because
it doesn't matter. It does not matter for any.
It does matter.
No, it does matter.
No, it doesn't.
No, it doesn't.
Yes, it does.
No, it doesn't.
Yes, it does.
For any game that has any sort of customization, people love differentiating themselves in any way, shape, or form.
It depends on the game.
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't.
It does.
No, it doesn't. The moment
I don't care what I look like in a game like Rogue Company or a game like Overwatch or a game like Apex. It does not matter what I look like, right? But in a game like Destiny, in a game like World of Warcraft or DC Universe or Assassin's Creed, where it's a story based, I see my character in either third person or in cutscenes. Yes, it matters. Overwatch 2 is gonna have a story based element of PvE. Yes, of course, I think it does matter. But in Overwatch 1, like a game where it's just like straight PvP, it doesn't really that matter. It doesn't matter. Halo is one of the biggest games, or at least it was one of the biggest shooters. And for the most part, you're either one of two colors. You're red or you're blue. Sure, you can have like a different helmet, but you're red or you're blue. It doesn't matter what you look like on Halo.
Okay, right? That's how they made it. But in Overwatch, where you do have like really cool looking skins, voice line sprays, and emotes, and they also give you like the whole freaking wheel for you to customize all of that, you're gonna use it because you want to differentiate from other people.
All that stuff can still be in the game. I don't think it matters.
It does matter because that's how they get all their money for it.
It doesn't change anything. It doesn't change anything about how the game.
It doesn't have to change the game. It's part of the game. What makes the game.
I think that it matters for certain games, but not all games.
It happens for any game with it. It happens for any game with it.
I would be perfectly fine if
look at Fortnite. Look at Fortnite. Fortnite's free or whatever. But like every time, like if anybody has like a default skin, like haha, look at that default. While they're running around with their super, like
I don't care. I still have a default on Overwatch. I do not care. I still have a default. Overwatch on Fortnite. Default. Who cares?
You, when it comes to like not caring, whatever, you're the minority. If you take that away from the majority, there will be hell to pay, and you know that.
Hey, I'm not worried about what this Aaron guy is gonna do.
Go ahead. In a game like Overwatch that already established the way that things are for you to get things in the game earnable or through the freaking loot boxes where it's not like no. Let me finish. So go ahead and make Overwatch 2 with a paid battle pass with a free stupid sprays, because nobody cares about sprays. Go ahead and make it paid for this.
That's what you just said.
Yes, it's part of the customization, but if you take away the skins and the emotes for it to be paid, go ahead, do it. See what happens.
Listen, Bio. Listen. In this new, I didn't say this. I didn't say this to be clear. But in this new Overwatch that I'm making that has the battle pass, it would still have like that regular menu where you could buy stuff for coins, right? You would still be able to have, you would still get coins in the game, right, and buy skins. But there'll be only some skins that are in the battle pass. But there'll be other skins that you can buy for your coins that are 1,000 coins or 500 coins, 750 coins. That'll still exist. But like, some skins are only in the battle pass that are free to everybody. Like for the base characters, there's some skins, but like the only way to get them is by playing. You know, if you look at my Overwatch, my Overwatch playtime.
Once again, is there things that can only be bought with money?
Yeah, no, I would not put a microtransaction store in Overwatch 2. A straight store.
No. I'm saying like not store or not, like battle pass, whatever. Are there skins and emotes that I cannot get from playing that I have to pay for?
For new characters, yes.
Garbage.
I don't care. I don't care because there's still gonna be 30 plus characters to do. It'll take a long time to look.
There'll be a
free track.
I'm so sorry for Get Your GameSense Up that we have someone with that kind of mindset. I am so sorry.
I'm so sorry. Bias doesn't live in a world where he doesn't see that not everything can be free.
It's not that everything can be free. We don't even know if Overwatch.
That's what you just said. You just said that. You're pretty much fighting for everything should be free. Like,
for the way that they've done it, and also for the fact that we'll most likely have to pay for Overwatch 2 $70 in this new day and age. Do you really think people are going to be sitting here having to cash out $10, $20, $30 every single time there's something new that they want?
Hey, they could still have free maps or whatever, free game modes. I'm specifically only talking about characters. And again, there's still a free track and a premium track. You still have the character for free, but if you want that cool legendary skin that's at level 50, you need to pay $10. Yeah, I do think that's fair.
I don't think it's fair. I will never think it's fair. If it can't be earned in game, and for me to have an option, or for the other person who doesn't want to wait and they want to buy it, that's how it should be. I will never agree to that. Ever.
And so, if big question here. Let's say Overwatch does do that. What's your final verdict? Are you going to play Overwatch 2 or are you going to stay in Overwatch 1 forever?
I mean, I can. Overwatch and Overwatch 2 are basically the same game, except Overwatch 2 has PvE.
Yeah, I mean,
and also Overwatch 2 is going to get. I mean, and Overwatch 2 is going to have PvP, and Overwatch 1 is going to get the updates and all the new maps and yada yada yada.
Sure, but are you not going to play Overwatch 2 if they have that? If there's a battle pass, there's a free track and a premium track for new characters. Are you going to say you're?
I wouldn't play. I wouldn't play. But if you take away that option where it's only one side, especially when it comes to real world money, I will never stand for it. Ever. And I already don't stand for it because I complain every time we get on Destiny.
Well, Destiny doesn't have that. Yeah, they do.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Destiny's different. We've discussed that many times. They don't have a battle pass. They have DLC. They change what DLCs are.
Yeah, they changed what DLCs are. All right, gamers, that was this episode of Get Your GameSense Up. Let us know down in the comments what you guys thought about today's episode. Let us know your thoughts on Jeff Kaplan leaving, Anthem dying. Do you think Anthem should have lived? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. And Super, let them know where the podcast is available.
Guys, our podcast is available on all platforms. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts. Anywhere you can find a podcast, we're on there. And including Bios 101's YouTube channel for video format.
And guys, always remember,
get your game sense up.